Good afternoon, Jessica. How you doing? You well?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I'm blessed. Always. Glad to be sitting here with you though, because we're here to talk about your debut fictional or literary offering, which hits the shelves on February the 14th. You must be excited about that. We're a couple of weeks out. It's Valentine's Day. That's quite a period to be launching a book, especially one of this ilk as well, because it is a love story. Of sorts. I won't go into I want you to speak on it, but when I was going through the blurb and the first couple of pages and just kind of getting an overall feel for what the book was about, I instantly got that you're drawing from somewhere deep with this one. So speak on that and kind of help the viewers, listeners to understand what your new book's about. Start with the title.
So the title is Maame, which in Twi, which is a Ghanaian dialect, means to be a mother or woman. And so this is a story basically about how a nickname like that and the responsibilities it comes with, given to someone at such a young age, can impact their adult life. So I get questions about whether it's a memoir or biographical, and I'd rather say certain elements are inspired by true life rather than entirely, because it just wouldn't be true. But it follows Maddie, who I like to call a later bloomer, because she's just doing things later on in life because she's a primary carer for her father suffering from Parkinson's disease. So it's basically about her moving out, first love, first grief, all whilst dealing with unconventional family dynamics, new friends, a new job, and just navigating life via everything and everyone.
A big element of the story is the fact that you're a carer for your father. Secondary carer, but the primary carer is I wouldn't put it like that, but I understand why you do. Talk about that aspect of including that aspect in the book, and just how important that element of your life has been. Because I noticed the book was to dad.
Yes. So my dad passed in 2020 due to complications of Parkinson's disease.
Sorry to hear that.
Nothing, thank you. Was a secondary carer, so I was at home helping with medication, food, all of those things. And it's odd. I didn't think I would ever write about something like this, because Maame started off as diary entries. So when I lost my dad, I just started writing down things, and then it just got to a point where I tried to make it into a story, and that's where the fictional elements came in. But it's to dad. It's the simplest dedication I'll probably ever write, because I think everything else is in the book. And so losing my dad was the biggest grief that I've gone through, and so it's actually quite wonderful to have it in book form so that I can draw on when memories get a bit faded.
I'm going to go dark before we go towards the light, right? But what were some of those moments like, being a secondary carer and ultimately witnessing the demise of the person that brought you in? Just how did that impact you at that particular period of your life?
I mean, it's with the person I kind of was, which was very much the responsible one, very much the people pleaser. It just felt like a role I stepped into. I don't know. It was a very difficult role to have, but it was an easy one for me to step into, because there was just nowhere I saw not kind of looking after my dad where I could. But I've been speaking to people who know relatives who have Parkinson's disease, and it's a very difficult disease to put into words, a very difficult disease to watch, especially since, as I know, there's no really a firm cure. And so it's not the easiest thing to describe. I don't know, when you watch someone you love dying, it's kind of fight or flight at the time, and I think mine was just on fight mode until he passed.
That journey, how many of the characters from that part of your life are in the book?
So there's no character in the book who is fully realised except for maybe the dad. The dad is the truest character that I know of. So I would say about 3.
You're just trying to be safe now, aren't you?
No.
I know what you're doing. It's all right. I get it.
The thing is, people will read it and then
they'll try and draw.
They'll try.
Of course, everyone's looking for themselves.
Exactly,
Yeah.
everyone's looking for themselves, and I would feel like I'm doing a bit of disservice if I said, "Oh, that is you," when it's really not.
Yeah,
So, but a lot of them are heavily inspired by people in real life.
Are you from a big family, big Ghanaian family, brothers, sisters, or?
So I have 2 brothers. I would say my immediate family is small, but extended in terms of, may not be blood related, but we call them auntie, we call them uncle, granddad, all of those things. That in terms of a bigger family, yeah.
Whereabouts in Ghana? Your family from?
Kumasi.
Kumasi.
Yeah.
You been?
Cape Coast.
You been?
Years ago.
Is that chain around your neck from Kumasi?
Pardon?
We know. Is that chain from your neck around your neck from Kumasi?
No,
we know.
I wish.
We know about the Ashantis and the gold that they harbour out there. Oh yeah.
I should ask about aliens actually.
Oh, you should.
But
yeah. Ghana's on the map right now, isn't it? I mean,
can't get a flight in December. It's so annoying.
Everybody's saying that.
Everyone's
right?
there, especially in December.
It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing to see, right? Because I'm not, gonna ball your age out. I can imagine when you were younger, it wasn't like that. It wasn't Vogue. It wasn't the place to be. I remember I went for the first time in 2006, and just blew me away.
Yeah,
blew me away. So, talk about how your culture is represented in the book.
Yeah, so it's a conversation about dual nationality and kind of how you describe home and what it means to have a home. I look at, I guess when I'm talking about nationality, I'm looking at the mum and Maddie. And Maddie feels more at home in London, perhaps because she was born and raised there. And the mum feels more at home in Ghana because she was born and raised there. She likes to go back there. And there's kind of this idea that Maddie has that when she says home, she really should be talking about Ghana, maybe, just because of DNA roots. Whole family is Ghanaian. And so it's kind of that balance of trying to understand who you are when you feel home one place, but really maybe home is somewhere else.
How have you navigated that in real life?
More so, sadly, since my dad passed.
Right.
Now, since my dad passed, I'm trying to learn to speak Twi. I understand it perfectly, but speaking it is difficult. I'm trying to speak it. I'm desperate to go back. I'm like telling mum when I get there, you have to tell me where dad was, everything like that. And so, quite sad to think that something so tragic has now made me more desperate to learn about the other half of me.
Yeah, I don't see it as sad. I understand why you describe it as that. I don't see it as sad. I see it as a catalyst. At times, I'm a Rasta, so we believe in life continual. So each one to each one. It's your time to learn.
Yeah.
That phase of your journey. It's been described, right, as a story of a young black woman navigating the privileged world of publishing while trying to care for her father. Talk about the publishing element. Why did you choose that vocation to focus on in the book?
Well, mainly because that was easier to write about.
Close to home, right?
Yeah, close to home. I used to work in publishing. And it's just a great foreground to explore topics like this. And again, it was a bit of a cheat for me because it was easy to talk about the elements of publishing when I knew what everything I was talking about meant. And so, yeah, we talk about microaggressions, we talk about her being the only black woman in her publishing team, which I had experience with. And it's
one of your first jobs, right? Being a literary agent.
One of my first literary jobs. I worked in a literary agency as an assistant and then moved on to publishing to be an assistant editor. Worked in retail before, book selling, and then the publishing industry.
This is your game, right?
Well, it's despite what can happen when you are the only black person on the team, it's a job I've enjoyed. Books.
You're making a conscious effort not to really dig into that whole negative of being the black person on the team. I can see there's a barrier that comes up there, which is we all got it. I understand it.
It's easier to write about, I think, than talk about. But like that's true with most things with me. I find it easier to write about than that talk about. I'm not sure why exactly, but I guess that's where being an author comes in handy.
But yeah, some people like chatting. I mean, look at the internet.
Yeah.
It's like they can't write for love nor money. So talk about where this affinity with writing and expressing yourself in that way kind of started, the birthplace. I'd assume it was when you were younger.
Yeah.
Were you a studious type? Did you get your head down in school? Talk about young Jessica.
Yeah, so young Jessica was a big reader, big reader, frequent visitor of her library, her local library. And writing didn't come up until late teens, maybe, just because I didn't see it as a job. I wasn't able to read many black writers, and so when you kind of don't see yourself there, you don't think, oh, I can do this as well. So I kind of went the traditional, financial decisions, law, be a doctor, vet, engineer, all of that stuff. Until about a year of studying international business, I kind of I left and said, okay, what else can I study? And then that's when English literature came along. And I kind of thought, what else can I do in the spare time that's I don't know, I kind of had this mentality where you need to have a backup plan. And so I went to university studying English literature to maybe teach English literature or something. But I also thought, well, what's a good hobby of mine that I can actually focus on? And I thought, okay, let's go back to writing and let's see where writing goes. And then I started writing with the aim of getting published.
Right. So you were intentional about it?
Yeah, I was intentional about it after a bit of just like short stories and just writing things. And yeah, it's been 8 years of writing to get here. This is the 6th book I've written. And so yeah, it feels like a lot of my time has just been spent, like a lot of my life has just been spent with books, whether I write them or read them.
There's some huge support for you on this book. How does that feel, given the 8 years? Because you're cutting your teeth in that period there, really. As exposed to the industry as you have been, it's still you now being, pouring it all in, and then people are going to judge, right? And I know what that's like. So how does it feel to get this kind of support at this stage as a black woman?
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously incredible because I know this is what every author wants. They want a great campaign and they want authors to say great things about their book. Working in the industry, I know that kind of every quote you see, it's absolutely genuine. Like, authors all know that they don't have to say anything about a book that they haven't enjoyed. So the incredible positive feedback that I've gotten it kind of almost goes over my head because I can't quite comprehend it.
Can't take it all in.
I can't take it in because it's such a wonderful thing to say it's been 8 years in the making. And so there's always that part of me that I need to remind myself, you have worked for this and you do deserve to have your book received well. Of course, not everyone's going to receive a book well. Reading is the most subjective thing in the world.
Art.
Art, creativity. Expression, exactly. It's all very subjective. So again, it's still slowly sinking in.
You're going to be busy over the next few weeks. I mean, talk about the message that you would like to get out there, because you're going to have an opportunity to, beyond just promoting the book now, to kind of put some things out there. We've touched on a few here. Yeah. What's important to you in 2023, Jessica?
That is quite the question. I don't know, I'd like to connect to young carers a bit more, if I can, because I didn't know, which is perhaps quite naive of me, there's a lot of young carers. I was at a bookshop, where was it? Manchester, Brighton maybe. We were talking to a bookseller who said, because of the pandemic, I think a lot of people have become or were young carers. And so that will be a very interesting thing to discuss. I mean, I write a lot about loneliness and dealing with depression and therapy. And I don't know, I know how impactful books can be, but it's strange to think of anything I'm writing to do something like that. But if it creates a space to talk about things that perhaps we don't really talk about very often, such as being a carer, such as depression therapy, then that would be a great
That'd be a
goal of
win.
2023. Yeah.
That'd be a W.
Yeah.
Good luck with it all, man.
Oh, thank you so much.
What are you listening to at the moment, music-wise?
Music-wise, oh my gosh. Okay, so Thames, obviously. I feel like that's a bit actually. I've got my phone out. Let's see.
I mean, Thames, sometimes she makes me cry, sometimes she makes me...
Honestly.
Oh, God, but I need it, though.
Oh yeah, exactly. Everything it's always worth it.
Yeah.
Listening to her. Who else is on here? Who else have I got? I just go straight to podcast usually.
We'll get into podcasts.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I've got some Beyonce. Her album is
Cool.
Some Raya.
Right.
Ray?
Yeah,
Ray?
right, yeah, right.
Rema
Yeah.
as well.
Of course.
I'd love to go.
Hot guy right now. He's the guy.
Honestly, he's going. Stormzy's new album is
Right,
come out.
yeah. Good music.
Coldplay, can't go wrong.
Yeah.
Labyrinth.
Okay, so quite a mix.
Yeah.
Quite a mix.
Gonna see Arlo Parks in Brighton in like April. So.
Good luck, man. Good luck.
Can't wait.
You're gonna deserve it. Well, listen, man. It's been a pleasure talking to you. I'm glad I caught up with you this side of the madness because I'm going to catch up with you later on in the year when the awards start rolling in.
Oh, God.
Just to kind of find out how that period's been. Brace yourself, man.
Gosh.
Because I just from what I've read already and the reviews that I saw and from who they come from, it looks like this is going to be a breakthrough year for you. So all the best, man.
Thank you so much. Thank you.